Good afternoon and welcome to a cold but sunny England. My name's Davey for PSG Talk, and I'm going to do a bit of a review this afternoon just on Tuesday night's wonderful 2-0 win at Old Trafford for Paris Saint-Germain. I was lucky enough to be in attendance at Old Trafford on Tuesday night. It was a wonderful night and certainly one that will live long in the memory. So as I said, just a bit of a review of my day, my experience, and a little bit about, in terms of what it means for the club going forward, what it means for the team, and just how far can this team really go this season's Champions League. So first and foremost, my day started on Tuesday by picking up a good friend of mine who stands next to me in at the Parc de France, a good friend with who I share my away days with. Picked him up from the airport near London, and we hit the car. We drove up to Manchester. Took us 2 or 3 hours. Atmosphere was fantastic when we got into Manchester. We had all the guys from Paris had their flares, and you seen the ultras arrive, who really added a lot of kind of colour and vibrancy to the day. And it was a great atmosphere, a real good feeling around the place. And admittedly, there was an air of pessimism from myself, just in terms of the injuries in the lead up to it, especially with Eddie's injury against Bordeaux a few days before, on top of Neymar's injury. It just felt like everything was going against us once more. But as it started to get closer to game day, I started to analyse a little bit more, and I'd really started to feel confident that PSG would win and could really do what it takes to, have a good result at Old Trafford and take that back to Paris for the second leg. And you kind of felt that around Manchester during the day. I really kind of felt that the fans were really in a good party mood. They believed. And when you're around people that believe, it kind of instills that in you as well. So as you get into the stadium, again, the fans are singing, chanting as they do. Wonderful away following PSG have. And they were fantastic in Manchester. Really, really were. So we get into the stadium probably about an hour before the game, and the away end is completely packed. It's full. And the flares are out, and they're singing and chanting, and literally all PSG fans are in the stadium as a home end starting to fill up. And you could just feel it. You could just feel that, it was going to be a good night. Something exciting was going to happen. You really got that sense from the atmosphere. So pre-game, the fans were fantastic, and I think that really set the tone for the evening. And the players came out, and I think they could feel that real energy from the fans. In terms of the games itself, I thought the tactics were absolutely spot on. I thought Thomas Tuchel got it absolutely perfect. To begin with, I thought it was a bit of a tentative first half. There wasn't really much by way of goalmouth action at both ends, and neither team looked really threatening. I thought it was a little laboured in terms of attacking play, in terms of technical ability. There's a couple of half chances here or there, but nothing really too threatening. But you almost felt that if PSG could just knock it up one level, that they could really get at United. And I'm sure that that's what Thomas Tuchel would have said at half time. He'd say, if you can just step it up a little bit, just that little bit extra in the final third, if we could just make the right pass, if we just have a little bit of better movement, bit of, just a little bit of better work between the front three, that would ultimately be the difference. And you could see that in the second half that was the case. I thought that Bernat and Dani Alves played a really vital role in really pushing United's fullbacks back to, I guess, destabilise them. So Ashley Young and Luke Shaw weren't able to influence the game from those positions and get forward and deliver that creative spark that the front three would need. I don't think there's any doubt that losing Lingard and Martial weren't key moments. They were key moments in the game, because that left Paul Pogba with nobody to kind of aim for apart from Marcus Rashford. So in terms of that, I thought that was a really key element. But let's not take away from the fact that Lingard and Martial weren't really doing anything in the first half anyway. And I think PSG really stifled them as a unit, which I thought was excellent. And again, great tactical efficiency in terms of the approach to the game. I think the key elements were the midfield, and this could have been a problem area with an unfit Verratti, Marquinhos supposedly playing out of position, but those two were absolutely phenomenal. Verratti gave us, 3/4 of a game, and he was absolutely stunning. He was really on form, and United couldn't get near him. But the key element for me was Marquinhos and the job that he did on Paul Pogba. I think that Marquinhos has been satisfactory. He's been competent in that midfield berth. We know that's not his predominant position. But Tuesday night, he was absolutely fantastic. He didn't put a foot wrong. And Pogba was frustrated. And I think that's why ultimately he got sent off in the end, is because he couldn't dictate the game the way he wanted to. Marquinhos was just, from start to finish, absolutely fantastic. So in regards to that, I thought that was that's where the game was won for me. That's what started the counter-attacks, was that efficiency in midfield. Those 1-2s between Marquinhos and Verratti, which started to kind of evolve a little bit more in the second half. And I would probably say that Marquinhos, just ahead of Verratti, would be my man of the match, and a really well-deserved one as well. So, like I say, it was a wonderful night. The fans were going crazy. Atmosphere was wonderful, particularly in the away end, and it was great at the end when the players came over to celebrate with the fans. So I think they really appreciated the noise that was created inside Old Trafford that night. I've done a few away days in my time. I've been to Barcelona, Madrid, Man City. You know, I've been to Napoli, lots of different places to watch PSG, but there was something really special in terms of Tuesday night, in terms of the way that the fans really celebrated and got behind the boys. So tactically, it was great. Man of the match, Marquinhos. Great night out at Old Trafford. So what does it mean for Paris Saint-Germain going forwards? For me, it means obviously being 2-0 up with 2 away goals and none conceded, which is an extremely strong position to be in. I believe the stats are 97% of teams go through with a 2-0 win at this stage in the Champions League knockout stage. So certainly all the stats will tell you that it's likely that PSG will qualify. But from someone who's been following this club for many years and has seen a few difficult times, particularly in Barcelona, and been there to witness some of these things, it's too early to get carried away. I think this team is capable of putting United to the sword, but I also think that the first goal at the park is vital. Whoever gets that first goal it will pretty much shape the match. If PSG get the first goal, it's game over. If United were to score early, then it's game on. So it's such finely kind of poised, but I do think that PSG are far more mentally tougher than in previous seasons. You can see that. They're a strong outfit. We've got now players like Buffon, Dani Alves, Neymar, people that have gone on and either have got great experience in this competition, or others that have gone all the way and won the competition and know what it takes to win the competition. And there's a mental toughness now about this team under Tuchel that wasn't there before under the likes of Laurent Blanc and Unai Emery, and you can really see that. I think that's really clear to see. For me, it's the mental side of it, which I guess is the most important elements to come out of this win. I think that what that does for us as supporters, what that does for the team to go to Old Trafford, to keep a clean sheet, to not lose a late goal, which we may have done under Unai Emery, and we would have been taking a 2-1 win back to the park, and, you know, maybe a bit of a seed of doubt in there. You know, I look at the silly goals given away in the Bernabeu last season, when we really shouldn't have lost 3-1, but we did. And I just feel that they're the strides we're making under Thomas Tuchel now, to be able to game manage, to be able to see a game out. So, you know, I think we'll go through. I think we will. I think PSG will go through. I think PSG will have too much for United at the park, especially losing Pogba, which is obviously their main creative force. And I expect PSG to go through to the quarterfinals. Where PSG go from there, who knows? It does heavily depend on the draw. You know, if you go through and you draw FC Porto, you've got a good chance of going through to the semis. If you go through and you draw Barcelona, Juventus, then, you know, it's a little more trickier. So a lot depends on who PSG draw, but there's certainly a feeling of a lot more optimism within the fan base, within the club. And it'd be great to get Neymar and Cavani back as well, to really have a good go at this Champions League. Who knows what's going to happen? There's no overwhelming favourite of the competition. Anybody can win this. Why not Paris? it would be certainly be an amazing thing for somebody new, but also in terms of the effort, the hard work behind the scenes, everything that's gone into this, the knockbacks that PSG get as a club just because of their method of operating, again, would be a really great statement to make to those people that constantly knock this club. So we'll see what happens, but really pleased with such a wonderful performance and a professional performance under the cosh. Big players missing. Really pleased with how it went, and it was a great night from my perspective. I'll be in the park for the second leg. I'm looking forward to going over to Paris for that one. That should be a good one as well. So onwards and upwards, allez Paris, and thanks for listening, and I'll see you all soon.